In the dry, windswept deserts of Peru, a discovery was made that seemed destined to rewrite human history. Near the famous Nazca lines, those giant, ancient drawings that have always made people wonder about visitors from other worlds, tomb robbers dug up a strange mummified body. It was small, had a weirdly long skull, and, most unnerving of all, it only had 3 long fingers on each hand. Suddenly, the story was everywhere. Headlines screamed about a non-human entity. Then, in a now infamous session of the Mexican Congress in September 2023, these figures were presented as possible proof of alien life. The main proponent, Jaime Maussan, claimed they were 1,000 years old and not part of our terrestrial evolution. The question on everyone's lips was intoxicating. Was this finally it? Was this the proof we are not alone? But while the world was freaking out, a small group of scientists in Peru started noticing things that didn't add up. Details that pointed not to the stars, but to a dark and tragic secret right here on Earth. The truth behind this alien wasn't about extraterrestrial life. It was about the desecration of a child's grave, a story far more shocking and heartbreaking than any tale of alien visitors. This whole thing really caught fire in 2017. When a group tied to Mexican journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan claimed they'd found several bizarre bodies in Peru's Nazca region. These weren't just skeletons, they were dried-out bodies, some coated in a strange white powder, with features that just didn't look right. The most famous one, a nearly 6-foot figure nicknamed Maria, was found in a crouched position, its 3-fingered hands and elongated skull held up as undeniable proof of its alien origins. The narrative was expertly sold. The promoters released a flood of videos and presentations showing what they called scientific evidence. They pointed to CT scans they claimed showed complex intact skeletons that couldn't possibly be fake. They even cited early DNA tests that allegedly found a large chunk of the genetic code was unknown. One researcher associated with the group, Dr. Konstantin Korotkov, boldly stated the remains belonged to another creature, something that appeared human but wasn't. The claims only got bigger. At that highly publicized hearing before the Mexican Congress, Maussan presented 2 small, desiccated figures, insisting they weren't related to any species on Earth. The pictures went viral and the world lost its mind. Believers saw it as the moment of disclosure they'd been waiting for. The figures, with their shrunken bodies and big heads, looked just like the gray aliens from pop culture. And for many, that was all the proof they needed. The pro-alien camp argued these were a new species that maybe even lived alongside the ancient Nazca people, who thrived in the area between 100 BCE and 800 CE. They pointed to old Nazca pottery that sometimes shows hybrid, 3-fingered beings, suggesting their culture was influenced by these strange visitors. It was a hell of a story. These weren't just mummies. They were messengers from another world, preserved for centuries in the desert. But while everyone was looking to the stars for answers, the real story was buried much closer to home, rooted in a crime as old as time. As the hype reached its peak, scientists and archaeologists in Peru began to push back not just with doubt, but with cold, hard facts. The Peruvian Ministry of Culture had been trying to warn everyone for years that these figures were a sham, but their voices were drowned out by the media storm. Now, forensic archaeologists were ready to show their work. The first major blow to the alien theory came from Lima. In October 2023, 2 small figures, just like the ones paraded in Mexico, were seized from a DHL shipment at the Lima airport. Peru's Institute for Legal Medicine and Forensic Sciences was brought in to analyze them. At a press conference in January 2024, the lead forensic archaeologist, Flavio Estrada, didn't mince words. They're not extraterrestrials, Estrada stated bluntly. They're dolls made from animal bones from this planet, joined together with modern synthetic glue. The investigation revealed the grim, meticulous way these figures were made. X-rays showed they were crudely pieced together using bones from birds and dogs. What looked like skin was just a mix of paper and glue spread over the bones to create a mummified look. A separate three-fingered hand was also analyzed and found to be built from human bones, but very poorly constructed. This wasn't even a new conclusion. A Peruvian prosecutor's report from 2017 had already called the alleged alien bodies recently manufactured dolls. That report detailed how hoaxers were looting real ancient tombs, a crime known as huaqueo, or grave robbing. They were stealing authentic human remains, some of them hundreds of years old, to build these morbid fakes. This explained the ancient carbon dating results the alien promoters always brought up. Sure, the bones were ancient, but they had been dug up and rearranged in modern times. As for the elongated skulls, anthropologists explained that was a well-documented practice in many ancient Peruvian cultures called artificial cranial deformation. But the most damning evidence came from an earlier incident. Back in 2015, at an event called Be Witness, Jaime Maussan had unveiled a tiny mummified body he claimed was an alien child. It was later debunked. Forensic analysis confirmed that the corpse wasn't an alien at all, it was the body of a human child. This was a grim preview of the much larger deception to come. The hunt for aliens had become a cover for robbing and desecrating human graves, including those of children. With the science settled, the narrative twisted from a sci-fi mystery into a somber tragedy. The alien mummies weren't visitors from another planet. They were fakes, assembled from the mutilated remains of real human beings. This wasn't just a clever hoax. It was an act of profound disrespect. Archaeologists in Peru condemned it as a violation of human dignity. These weren't just bones. They were the remains of ancestors, people who lived and died in ancient Peru. Their bodies had been naturally mummified by the incredibly dry Nazca desert, only to be dug up centuries later by grave robbers. So, why do it? The motivation appears to be pure greed. These alien dolls were made to be sold on the black market to collectors and UFO tourists. One man from the town of Palpa even admitted to making similar souvenirs to sell, hoping to literally put his small town on the map. The involvement of children's remains makes the story even darker. The 2015 alien child incident wasn't isolated. The use of human parts means that the bones of infants and children, being smaller and easier to work with, were likely targeted by these grave robbers, known as huaqueros. The story of a tiny body, once buried with care by its people, being torn apart and glued back together for profit, is a profound tragedy. That truth is far more unsettling than any story about aliens. It reveals a world where human remains become nothing more than raw materials for a black market business. The global obsession with the alien narrative, pushed by charismatic showmen and breathless media, accidentally created a demand for these desecrated bodies. While the world was debating UFOs, the final resting places of ancient Peruvians were being plundered. Peru's Ministry of Culture has been firm in its fight to reclaim these remains and kill the myth for good. Their experts have repeatedly stated that Peru's incredible history, from the Nazca lines to Machu Picchu, was the work of their human ancestors, no aliens required. The real tragedy is that this true history has been overshadowed, and the remains of its people have been dishonored in the process. It's easy to get swept up in stories about aliens, but our desire to believe in the extraordinary should never come at the cost of disrespecting the dead. If you believe in protecting our shared human heritage and want to see more investigations that cut through the noise, take a moment to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Your support helps us keep telling the real story. The saga of the Peruvian alien mummies is a journey from a wild fantasy to a very sobering reality. It started with the thrilling idea of first contact, a story that captured the world's imagination. We were shown three-fingered hands, long skulls, and tiny, otherworldly bodies, and were asked to believe. But the truth wasn't out there in the stars. It was in the dirt, in looted tombs across the Nazca desert. The aliens were revealed to be gruesome dolls, pieced together from animal bones and, most tragically, from the desecrated remains of real human beings. Scientists in Peru exposed a grotesque trade where ancient bodies, including those of children, were being mutilated for profit. This story is a powerful reminder of how easily the search for aliens can blind us to very real human tragedies. It's a cautionary tale about belief, the power of the media, and a black market that preys on both our curiosity and the long deceased. The figures presented to the world weren't proof that we are not alone. Instead, they were proof of a profound lack of respect for the human lives that came before us, a truth that is far more challenging and far more important to confront.